We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You're tuning into Cloud9 Radio.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You're tuning into Cloud9 Radio.
Okay. Welcome back to Cloud9 Radio. I want to start off by saying I appreciate everybody for tuning in and giving me 10 to 15 minutes of your time. You feel what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all supporting the last 4 episodes. We're going to jump right into it. Cryogenics. Anybody well-versed in this? Because I really, I did some research. I'm a little bit versed in it, but maybe, if you are more versed than I am, drop it in the comments and let me know. If I get anything wrong, hey, I'm not perfect. You feel what I'm saying? I'm practicing. You feel what I'm saying? But cheers. This episode sponsored by tequila. Let's jump into it. Who's the founder of this thing, cryogenics? Right? Who made up this idea that you could freeze people? Well, let's not say freeze, vitrify people, huh? I did some research and I found out that there's a guy named Robert Edinger. I'm actually halfway through reading his book called The Prospect of Immortality. This book is kind of crazy. He wrote it in 1962, and a lot of the ideas that he said in the book is all come to fruition. People using mechanical limbs. I know of one person using mechanical limbs. They operate it using their foot. Look it up. Do some research on it. It's amazing. Artificial organs and stuff. You feel what I'm saying? He mentioned that in the book. Talk about one day we'll be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? What else? He talked about the idea of weather control. Danger. Hard, right? I don't want to get into conspiracy theories this episode, but weather control. Talked about more cameras being around. More cameras being around. Step outside your crib and tell me how many cameras you see. Or when you go out and about hanging out with your peoples, go see how many cameras you see. It's a lot now. So a lot of parts in this book just definitely come to fruition, He talked about the legal aspects of cryogenics, what may happen, you know what I'm saying? He talked about economic, possibilities of it, talked about identity and self, religion, because some religious people are against the idea of vitrification or freezing somebody or cryogenics, because they say that when you freeze somebody, what happens to their soul or whatever, right? But, is life support not the same thing if you got somebody on life support? Or if somebody dies and you bring them back to life, what happens to their soul in between, So it's a whole thing, but some religious freaks not really too much into the idea of vitrification or freezing people, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, some people see death as an event. It's more like a process, you feel what I'm saying? Death is more like a process for sure. First person frozen is Dr. James Bedford. He actually died of kidney disease, which went up to his lungs and eventually he passed away. On January 12th, 1967, I believe 67, because the book was written in 1962. So yeah, this guy was frozen around 1967. The company Alcor, based in Arizona, actually has his body. His body actually jumped around to a couple different places. I about before they even had it in a cryogenic chamber, it was frozen in the person's garage who he gave his body to science to, but I don't know how scientific that is. It said they kept it preserved in dry ice or something like that. Dr. James Bedford, you should look him up. I thought that's crazy. He fell in love with the idea that Mr. Edinger had about vitrification and freezing people. Might have even read the book, and probably he had the money. You know, back then I guess it was $100,000 to do. His family actually took the companies to court because they wasn't feeling the idea of him being frozen in time or whatever. You think somebody could come back after vitrification or freezing, being cryogenically frozen? Think somebody could come back? I mean, it worked for Han Solo. It worked for Captain America. It worked for Fry from Futurama. Why can't it work for you? Let me stop. Too much jokes. How many other people's frozen? Alcor got a lot of people that's frozen, you know. I believe close to 140 people. They got some pets too. They got pets frozen too. They got heads and bodies because apparently you could choose to vitrify or freeze your body or your head. You know, either or. If you got the ducats for it, you could do both. You know what I'm saying? And if you do got the money to do it, maybe you should go to Alcor. I know if I was gonna do it or had the money to do it, I'd probably go to Alcor. I love baseball and they got Ted Williams. Anybody know who Ted Williams is? If you know who Ted Williams is, put who he is in the comments if you know who Ted Williams is. Some people say Walt Disney's frozen. He's actually not frozen. Right? But the process is actually kind of amazing. Let's check out the process and what actually they do to your body to vitrify it or freeze it. You know what I'm saying? So check it out.
The process of cryopreservation begins once the patient is pronounced legally dead. The patient will be placed inside of an ice bath that's filled with water and ice. A pump will pump cold water over the patient's body and primarily the head to keep the brain cold. A breathing tube will be inserted into the lungs to keep the blood oxygenated, and an automatic chest compressor will pump the blood throughout the body, primarily to the brain. During this time, medications will also be introduced into the body that thin the blood and that aid in the cooling process. The chest will be opened and the blood will be pumped out of the body and replaced with a cooling solution. Once the patient arrives at the facility, they will be placed onto a table where the cooling solution is replaced with the cryoprotectant solution. Perfusing the brain with cryoprotectant will prevent freezing damage and cause the brain to be vitrified once the patient is placed in liquid nitrogen. The patient will be wrapped inside of a sleeping bag and tied to a wooden board. Inside of a computer-controlled cooling unit, the patient will be cooled with liquid nitrogen to minus 196 degrees Celsius over the course of about 5 days. The patient will be hoisted up above the cryostats that are about 10 feet tall, each of which hold 6 patients. The patients will be placed inside of the cryostats face down so that if there is any excess liquid nitrogen boil off, the brain will not be affected. The cryostats are periodically refilled with liquid nitrogen. The walls of the cryostats are void of air to insulate the patients, and air is periodically pumped out of the walls of the cryostats. Eventually, the patients expect to be reanimated in the future.
Tell me that wasn't crazy. That's what they do. Yo, science is a beautiful thing, bro. Science is amazing, bro, that they could do something like this. You know what I mean? Actually preserve your body for that long, you know what I'm saying? because I don't know, I wouldn't want to live forever, but I probably, I want to see what happens 200 to 300 years from now would be amazing. You know what I'm saying? In the book, The Prospect of Immortality, he talks about a lot of stuff about, he got 12 experiments. You got to read this book. It's crazy, man. I'm gonna put the link in the comments just in case you want to watch it. They got an audio book on YouTube too. You can look it up. Let's talk prices. You thought that pair of Jordans that you bought was expensive? Or you think what you pay for insurance is expensive, your car note? Because this process is actually pretty expensive to live twice. I call it living twice, right? We're talking about close to $625,000. Hang my head, it's crazy. $625,000 to do something like this. And that's just a surcharge. $310,000 to do it for a family member. But they gotta be a member. They got members. You'll be paying for this for the rest of your life if you do this. Anybody could do this. I looked up online. Some insurance companies actually pay for this. You could have your insurance company pay for something like this if you want to do this or not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you'd be dead anyway. So, and I don't know. Some people rarely go to see their relatives in the cemetery anyway. You know what I'm saying? So why not be preserved in a laboratory waiting for your second life to pop up? I don't know. I like the idea, but it's far-fetched. It's far-fetched. $80,000 just for your brain, to do your brain. If you just want your brain stored. $200,000 if you just want your body stored. I wonder if it's extra to have your own chamber, because the chambers that they keep everybody in actually hold 6 people. So it's kind of weird to be frozen in time with 6 people you don't know. I wonder if it's kind of crazy. Again, would you do this if you had the money? If I was a millionaire and I had the money, I'd do it. I'd do it for a pet. I'd definitely do it for a pet. If I had a pet, I'd definitely do it for a pet. I think it would be cool. About legal ramifications of cryogenics, About the legal ramifications. What if this actually becomes a thing, right, in our lifetime, right? And somebody did some malicious act, killed some people, did something overly crazy. Now you could be sentenced to 1,000 years because they're gonna, keep in mind that people get frozen. If that person's family had the money, they could just freeze you and bring you back. That would be crazy. Kind of like, anybody see Demolition Man? Isn't that what they did in Demolition Man? Demolition Man was kind of crazy, wasn't it? They froze him because they say he did a crime and then brought him back. Well, that was a crazy movie. Crazy movie. But just gentrification, I said gentrification. Vitrification is a solid, crazy, scientific idea. It's very far-fetched. Very far-fetched. But the way science is now, I didn't think it happened, man. They always finding new breakthroughs, I feel like the money that these companies are spending to cryogenically put people to sleep, they probably could spend their time trying to cure cancer or heart disease or AIDS or, mental illness, but, some money gets spent however people want to spend their money. It is what it is. I don't want to be pocket watching. Would you do that? If you had the money, would you want to be vitrified or frozen and brought back 1,000 years from now when they have the capabilities? Because you got nanotechnology now. They're thinking that, all that stuff could help, people's bodies, people that lost arms and stuff like that. So it could bring you back to life. but you'd have to be preserved, you know? An amazing idea. Science, such an amazing thing. Leave you with this. I want to say that the one thing that makes us human is our awareness of mortality. You know what I mean? Knowing that you're gonna be gone one day. You know what I'm saying? It's deep. You know, that's why you gotta get your affairs in order. Create generational wealth so your family be good, you know, and create a plan. Life insurance, however you want to take care of your family while you're gone. You know, it's deep. Death is deep. Death is crazy. Period. But again, what do you think? Hey man, if they did it for Captain America, they did it for Han Solo, they did it for Fry and Futurama, why can't they do it for you? Cheers. See you later on Cloud9 Radio. Bless.
I'm just trying to show y'all what they taught me. If you don't pay attention, it could be costly. I'm just trying to show y'all what they taught me. If you don't pay attention, it could be costly.